Hello, friends. Mali Ponfadith here, CEO of the SOAR Community Network and co-founder of the SOAR Community Nebula. Our goal is to bring you 1,000 community builders and champions of change. And today I'm delighted to bring to you my friend, Ina Gjikondi. Thank you so much, Ina, for being with us today and for being a part of our life and our journey. Appreciate you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's just good to be with you, just to feel and to be in the energy field. I'm glad to be here.
Wonderful. Can you reintroduce yourself to our community and also share with us the work that you're currently doing in the world?
Sure. So my name is Ina Gjikondi, and I'm currently serving as the Director for Executive Education and Coaching at George Washington University. And I say that my work in the world is really to elevate consciousness and to cultivate energetic stability in a way that we can all live in that one shared humanity. So everything I do and who I am, it really is bringing and stepping into that place we call the collective or the global consciousness, bringing that forth with intention in a way that we could live happier, more fulfilled, and really just enjoy each other. Yeah.
Great. Well, you're definitely a part of our community and our mission, just the way that you vibrate, the language that you use, and just who you're being in the world. What I'd like for us to share now is perhaps an experience or maybe a person or people that you'd like to highlight who have been conscious, mindful leaders in your world, who have helped you to develop into the human being that you are today, or perhaps help reshape a way of thinking or ways of thinking in a profound way.
Sure. Well, two things came to mind when you asked that question: an event and a person or a soul in this reality, in this physical reality. So it was about 4 years ago when I had one of those breakthroughs or breakdowns. I like to call it a breakthrough, but those life events where we're in the middle of huge uncertainty, where just life happens, or we feel like it's happening to us and in fact is not moving through us. So we get in the victimhood and, oh my goodness, everything is happening and it's not in the right place. But anyway, I went into a significant burnout and I had no idea, no sense of what's going on. I mean, I was working 24 hours, not really paying attention and taking care of my own needs in the way that I should have taken care. And it was all about giving, and there was not a good balance between the giving and receiving. And in fact, I didn't even have a sense of receiving, like what it meant to, what it really was. And this journey, in a way, took me through a process which I had to go through and learn. There were stages to it, and one of those stages in the process was acceptance. I mean, to accept that we are human becomings, and that we are made of energy. We are energetic beings. And to be aware of that in a way that we could start seeing that building or creating energetic stability in our own life, it's really critical and important. Notions and concepts that I had no sense of. But I will say that the way the opening happened for me was I wrote this children's book called Baby Light. And while I had no desire to do anything else. I mean, I was definitely depressed, I would say now. I didn't want to accept it then, but it was incredible anxiety in my system. And of course, the doctors want you to take the magic pills. And I didn't do any of that because intuitively I knew that this is not the way things should be, because we're not addressing the real symptoms of the problem. But this book I was writing was the only thing I had energy for. And I started asking, why am I having energy to do this? But anything else, no emails, I didn't want to meet people. And what I know now is that I was missing my creative outlet, being in touch with my own creativity, with my own humanity, with my own uniqueness. And that was missing and lacking in my life. And ultimately, joy. So that's kind of where I'm putting a lot of my energy these days, is on cultivating joy, how to create more of that in my life. And because the book was also, it's a children's book for adults, which kind of teaches us how to see our own light, be in touch with it, be able to observe it in different ways, whether it's from the cognitive, from the spiritual, emotional, all the various streams of consciousness and intelligences. The guidance in this process became my son. And I would say he is one of those people in the journey that sort of helped my awakening or my becoming more aware. And I wasn't that aware of it until I started taking these walks with him. And he was about 2 years old. And he was just taking these little steps. And I'm like, oh gosh, this is so slow. And I started seeing, for the first time, I got to see my neighbors and the trees in the neighborhood. And I'm like, we live in a really nice place. So just a shift of the perspective. And then I started this practice of loving kindness. And I started doing that with Hadrian every evening. And we do it to this day. Loving kindness is a practice we continue to do. But what I noticed was happening is this, after the loving kindness, there was this space that we co-created, that it was so magical, where I would ask Hadrian a question and he would come up with some amazing answers to the point that I'm like, where are they coming from? And I'll just share this, and then I'll stop there. But in the loving kindness, and there's different languaging or scripts that you could use, but we use one that says, may I be happy, may I be peaceful, may I be filled with love. And then we bring the faces of all of our loved ones, and we say for them, may they be happy, may they be peaceful, may they be filled with love. And we add the line, and may they learn what they need to know as easy as possible, which is very, it's like we're not in control of ourselves. We're in control. We are in control of ourselves. We're not in control of anybody else. And after the loving kindness, he says, Mom, when we mentioned all the loved ones, he said, Mom, do you love yourself? And I said, yes, I do. And he said, well, we mentioned all those loved ones in the loving kindness. Why didn't you put yourself in there? I said, put yourself in there.
Wow.
That was so powerful for me because, again, this child is teaching me about self-love. It's teaching me. It's bringing it to my awareness. And a lot of different episodes like that. So he's been a great guidance. And I think that's the kind of thing I want to be a voice in the community, in the society, to awaken that in parents and parents in so many ways, because we always play the parenting role in so many forms, not just parenting your child. Sometimes you become a parent to your own parents and so on. So, but that idea of sourcing the wisdom and the intelligence from the unusual places, I think I wouldn't have said it any better, actually. It just came through. So, yeah.
That's so beautiful and powerful. And I will say that it resonated with me so much, Ina, because when you were talking about the children's book and talking about how it's written for adults, whether you're a parent biologically or whether you're parenting other people, whether you're leading people at work and you're parenting them, right? There's so many ways that we nurture people. But I could remember a time in my adult life when I got to a place like you where I was just like, why am I not happy? What is going on? And it really was because my inner child really never had a chance to be a child. So all of the creativity, all of the places where you can be authentically true to your emotions, that you can speak whatever's on your mind, I never had a chance to do that. And as you were sharing your episode or your experience of just getting to a place where it's like something is just not right, it's because we have to remember that we're holistic as a being, and we can't just be parts of the soul that came here because we're trying to cope or trying to fit in or trying to be safe. We have to be all of the particles from a scientific level, but also from a spiritual level. We have to be all that our soul came here to do and be, right? So I just wanted to kind of highlight that because it resonated with me so much. The next question that I have for you is, you spend a lot of time with incredible leaders. You develop them. You are around community builders and change agents. You're one yourself. What are some of the attributes that are unique to them or special or consistent that you'd like to highlight about community builders and conscious leaders?
Yeah, it's, well, a conscious leader is in touch with his own humanity. I think that's the general answer, or like the big picture answer. Is someone who takes time to reflect and exercise imagination. It's someone who practices powerful inquiry, who is not hurrying and rushing to get things done just for the sake of getting things done, but it's allowing and, most importantly, cultivating the container to have the difficult conversations, to have the creative conversations. Is someone who shows up with deep presence, who's comfortable with the uncertainty, and who has the capacity to transform difficulty and worry into ease and flow. Someone who's fully aligned with purpose and it's committed to that joy. You know, I see a lot of different leaders, and primarily the space that I've been working is in the government. And there's change makers in the government. There's a lot of people who care about the mission, making things better in the community. And through a lot of our leader development experiences, we are very intentional in cultivating the whole person. And I think that's what really helps and assists people into bringing forth those qualities. So it's in them, right? We know it, it's in them. Everything, the change makers, the wonderful leaders, they're willing to do the work. They're willing to do the inner work, and they're open to it. It's nothing magical. I mean, we can all do it, but they're committed. They're really committed to doing the inner work. They're open to feedback. They're willing to take risks and fail. You know, I know we're not supposed to get probably politics here, but I've been kind of looking at the Democratic campaigning, the candidates. And there's several of them that I like in different ways, but I was really taken by Pete Buttigieg, the mayor, and what he said. I was taken by him because he says, someone asked him about one of the goals that he had not fulfilled. And he said, yes, and I take responsibility. It's a goal, but I'm not there yet. I take responsibility for that. I illustrate this to say that conscious leaders take responsibility of their actions, and they're intentional about their actions. And when things don't go the way they're supposed to go, they just accept it and they move on and they learn their lessons And there is a sense of flow about these, about conscious leaders, that again, it's more on the allowing. They're more creative, less reactive. And the other thing I would say is that you can have a conscious leader and an unconscious leader, just for the sake of, I don't want to box anything here, but they may achieve similar results at the end of the day. But one of them is exhausted and tired at the end of the day, and the other one is relaxed and open and in peace. And that's the distinction, like because you don't, if you're in a place where you're sensing yourself efforting all the time and not getting to the results that you want, then that's just a little flag that universe is telling you have to start looking at things differently. And generally that's starting with your own inner work. So if I would have to just answer in one sentence, I would say the conscious leaders are the ones willing to do the inner work and continue to do it through their lifetime. So
I think also what you just stated kind of comes back full circle to how you started this interview, which is all about us being energy, right? We are energetic beings. And I think that's a good compass for all of us when we can tap in at the end of the day or in the early morning. What is our energy feeling like, right? Are we exhausted? Are we ridden with anxiety and fear? Because I certainly have been there myself when I have been totally out of alignment, right?
Yeah.
And you just have this heaviness in your heart, you're stressed, you're having panic attacks, all kinds of craziness. And you're thinking, what is going on? And it's because, again, we are not in alignment. We are not in integrity of whatever it is from a soulful, spiritual place that is telling us we need to be awakened and come to a place of understanding of what is our role to do? How are we operating in the world? Is it providing us with the joy and harmony that we seek?
Exactly. I mean, and we, as we know, our thoughts manifest anything we want to manifest and see in the world. So that energetic field that we may not be aware of, it's creating the panic attack, the anxiety, but we just not see it. We're not aware. And I think that's part of the learning journey, the developmental journey. Once we step into the inner work, then we become more open and aware that of everything that it's around us, because there's so much resourcing we can do. We don't have to do it alone. You know, there's the humanity all around us, and then you've got all the other living things. You know, you've got the trees, and you've got the rocks, and you've got the water, everything around us. It's a resource. So leveraging it. I mean, if we talk about leadership, one of the major issues that people bring in leadership is time management, prioritization. It's about delegation or better communication. I mean, the source of all of it is being able to be in touch with your own humanity, do your own work, and then you radiate it to others. I mean, simple as it sounds.
Yeah.
So.
But we're not trained to do things.
We're not. No, and that's a significant. That's why I do believe. You know, I love Dalai Lama's quote, and I'm paraphrasing here, but when he says we need to teach all the 8-year-olds to meditate, which that would really help us eradicate wars into the next generation. So why don't we do that more intentionally? Whether it's meditation or just simply critical thinking skills in schools and in families. So, and I think, I mean, as this conversation is all about that, right? To continue to ignite that kind of conversation in our humanity and to contribute and support our society to elevate to that next level of development and thinking. So We're all contributing. Yeah.
I think the goal of contributing is having conversations, because conversations spread, stories spread.
Yes.
Sharing that you and I are having with all the other change makers and champions of change that we're interviewing, their unique perspective, how they're able to tap into their humanity in their unique ways, helps us to, I think, activate so many other humans who are trying to figure out, well, how do I do that? And it's unique for everybody. How I tap into my humanity or find a sense of harmony is different with the tools that I use than what you would use.
Sure.
So you and I can go on and on about this. So
I'm
I'm
sure,
going to ask the next question. The next question is, how are you contributing your gifts, your talents, your unique experiences to advance movements forward? So that's the first question, is how are you doing that? And then the second question is, are there specific movements, initiatives, or even organizations that you would like to highlight and feature that you're actively helping right now to advance their mission?
So right now I've chosen to offer my contribution through George Washington University. That's primarily the way I do my work. And one of the programs that I'm really excited about, and this is a recent and new program, which really is designed to respond to this idea of elevating global consciousness and stepping into the collective consciousness as a way of responding to, the 17 goals, sustainable development goals. We've got, if we just take climate action, we've got 8 years, even a little more. It's between 8 and 10, depending on the source. But let's say that there's 10 years and we've got all the 17 goals. I mean, they're all interconnected, but there's very little time. So we need to take action, like right now. So this program is designed to respond to that need by developing a global community of coaches. So we are doing it through the profession of coaching, primarily focusing in the workplace and organizations at this point, but to develop a global coaching community that would support this work all over the world. So our goal is that by 2030 we have in every member nation of the world, we have a trained professional that could do the work in the community. So that's one way. And again, the program is a professional coaching program. So the foundational skills that we actually teach are deep listening. It's the foundation. Then how to practice wonder and imagination, and how to really learn to be with one another. And really the essence of it, because we do say you are the system, and you are the system, meaning the change can start with one person. And the more we become aware of our oneness, the more we spread it in the world, we come full circle, because we are one. We are that one humanity. So that's the message, and that's the way I'm contributing at this time around this program. Another way that I'm working towards is developing a course on cultivating joy. And I really believe, a lot of people these days look into, well, what's my purpose? What am I here to do? And it's a legitimate question. It's a great question. And where I came to peace with it is, like, instead of chasing my purpose and being anxious all the time about the future of what this is going to look like, I'm just going to practice joy and gratitude and just be where I am and enjoy everything I'm doing at this given moment. So I want to spread more of that message, not only in the GW community, because right now we're focusing internally in the GW community, but also then eventually externally in the corporate world. The one thing that I've become more aware, because most of the work has been government, is we have 70% of the American GDP comes from business. Business is an untapped potential. I mean, it's becoming more active. I mean, and there is a lot more happening in that space. But if we want to really support this global platform, we really need to step into business and awaken joy in business, literally. Other ways that I'm contributing is through conscious parenting conversations. This last year I did a lot of work at my son's school, and that was simply by reading to the kids. But I want to be more intentional this coming year in really developing a container to have these conversations with parents. So that's something that's still in the works, but that I'm being more intentional about. And let's see, what else? Well, and really, personally, is just being out there. Oh, I know there is one other thing. We are another initiative, and I would love to eventually put this out in your community. We're starting something we call the Global Consciousness Initiative, and it would be a convening happening next year here at the university. And the intention for it is to bring together change agents, people who are already doing the work, and to look for ways to collaborate and accelerate. And I think the language I've been using a lot is how we accelerate the acceleration. That's really, I'm very interested to find ways that we can tap into more networks to shift change at the global scale. You know, how do we accelerate that? So that's something that it's still in the it's in development stage. We're looking to collaborate and find partners. So that's something else that that could be of interest maybe to the community. Yeah.
Let us know how we can support you. I mean, we're interviewing. The goal is to interview 1,000 of those change agents. So maybe we can get 1,000 of them to show up next year. Yes. So let us know how we can definitely collaborate with you on that. We'd love that. We need hubs like ours all over the world. We need communities to, well, like you said, accelerate the accelerators, right? I mean, if we're trying to accelerate consciousness and develop conscious leaders, and we've got millions of other hubs like ours or communities like ours doing it, why aren't we doing this together? Like, really, why aren't we doing this together? Because I personally, our community can't do it all. You know, we need really massive change to happen exponentially and very quickly. So let us know what we can do for sure on that. What I'd like to now ask you to do is share an empowering quote or motto or philosophy that really supports you when things are tough and not always smooth and in flow. How do you get back to center?
What came up, I have several things, but I'm just going to go with what came up was Mary Poppins. I am a big fan of Mary Poppins. And I will say, when I bring Mary Poppins into the classroom, not many people really know about her, which surprises me. Maybe it's a European thing. I don't know. But Mary Poppins to me is the epiphany of imagination. And if I would choose one thing to do in the world all the time, I would say that the foundational competency for leaders and people would be the practice of active imagination. And when things get in the way, I always play a Mary Poppins song. And I really love the second one, because the Mary Poppins Returns. And there is this part in the movie where Meryl Streep is in it too, and she's, I don't know if you watched the movie, but the song is called Turning Turtle, and she's someone who fixes like pottery and stuff like this, and very Eastern European look. And Mary Poppins goes with the children, and they want to fix this pot. Anyway, So she says, I can't today because it's the second Wednesday of the month. Everything turns upside down. It's turning turtle. The world is turning turtle, like just like upside down. And there is it's a line in that song where it says, well, she says, and I'm paraphrasing, you have to change the view from which you're looking at things. She says, now that I changed the view from where I stood, the things that I didn't like, they're changing for good along those lines.
Wow.
And so to me, that's like, what do I do when I'm in the middle of something and I'm stuck with it? I'm too much in my head. I got to change the view from where I'm standing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do that, things change and change for good because you're changing your perception. So I practice that all the time, really. And whether as I go instead of fixing on my computer, I go and I look at my plants, or I'll go and just notice, just raise my head and up in the sky or see something around and be intentional, knowing that I'm calling for help because the resources all are around. And that gets me unstuck and I move on. And that's for me, it's the best practice that I have discovered to keep myself going.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Change your vantage points to get unstuck.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. Change your view, change for good. That's the way. Yeah.
You know, what would a better world look like through your eyes?
A world where we accept that we are souls, that we don't have souls, but that we are souls. A world where children play outdoors free, with very little restrictions, and a world where those are the schools that they need the most. And a world where leaders don't just drop their part of themselves when they enter the door of the organization because that's their personal self, but a world where we can see that what we're doing is that we're contributing. Our work is not separate from life in general. Work and life are one. And that we see each other as that shared humanity. That's the picture. That's the picture for me.
How can our community best support you right now?
To hold space with intention. I think if we could all set the intention as a collective, and every day, even if it's a ritual or not a ritual, but it could be setting the intention that we are here to support life for the greater good. I think just doing that and practicing that in an ongoing way, I think that's the best thing we can do for each other really right now. I really do believe in the power of the collective. I do believe in the power of the collective. It's really magical when, and I don't want to go on here, but Lynn McTaggart's work on the field and setting a global intention, the global experiments she's been doing, to me, I almost envision, if you're going to have this 1,000 leaders or change agents, and I know your community is bigger than that, I almost feel like, shall we have like a collective intention at a given time, a given moment, and see what happens? A very concrete collective intention, whether is to reduce carbon footprint in a particular area of our park, I don't know. It could be very specific and see what happens. Um,
I think we can coordinate that, Ina.
I think that would, because the more we can do in that space, the more we're going to move in the direction of acceptance that we are energy, that we are souls, and we don't have to effort that much.
Yeah, no, it's great. I don't want to effort that much anymore.
No.
Life is too precious and time is too precious.
Yeah.
Well, I so appreciate you today. And you have such high vibration, because even through this Zoom call, like the whole time you were talking, the back of my head was like just, kind of doing its thing when I get truth that comes at me. So I really appreciate, again, you for taking the time and you for being you in the world. I really love our friendship and I want to see you more. But I really do appreciate all of the work that you do to develop so many leaders on a daily basis, because it's going to take a whole bunch of conscious leaders, mindful, thoughtful, compassionate, fill in the blank type of leaders, really help turn the tide here in our world, on our planet. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. And just to mirror back that, I did feel this bubblish energy just in the heart area through the whole time, and I could feel the love and the heart connection. And I really am grateful for the opportunity to just be with you in this space, and very grateful for the work you're doing. Very grateful. So thank you.
Thank you, Ina. Thanks for the love fest. For those that are watching, we appreciate you so much. Please remember to nominate yourself or someone in your community. Let me reframe that. Please nominate yourself and someone in your community who is creating positive ripple effects. Please visit us at nebula.soarcommunitynetwork.com. Thank you so much, everyone.